So as Ian and Paul and anybody else that's ever interacted with me know, I could speak on this topic forever. I mean, just wind me up. I got 20 minutes. So with that in mind, I'm going to be as quick as I can and as entertaining as I'm able to be. So this is me, and this is my family. And I say this because they are the most important thing in the world to me. Now, even though they may disagree and they might think that helping people like yourselves and these folks develop great software is actually even more important. But my family is most important, at my insistence, at least most of the time anyway. But helping people build great software is my passion. But how do you do it, right? So Ian said, what lessons have we learned? What do we do, right? Lots of great questions out here about some of the particulars. And for us, it really comes down to three elements that have to be in sync. It's process, it's technology, right? What technology are we building? What's the architecture? Are we building it for mobile, cloud? What are we doing there? And then quality. If you don't build good quality products, you wind up all of your time in fixing defects and not building great software. So these three things have to be in harmony around your business goals, right? So different companies have different goals, right? Is it to improve our market share, which might be different than penetrating an existing market? Customer satisfaction might be different than improving the quality of our products, or penetrating new markets. So these things have to be in alignment around your business goals. Today, we're going to talk about process, because we could talk about technology, but we don't have time for that. So let's talk about things that we've learned pretty much the hard way. Okay? These things are going to sound easy, but they're not, right? This is a challenging journey towards a summit that I still have not yet reached. This is a life journey towards what I would consider agility and high-performance teams, right? You need to embrace some of these concepts over time as we strive towards our goals. So I'm going to share with you the top 10, and I'll throw in a bonus number 11 for you because you're such nice people. So number one, you need this guy, but he's dead. So you need someone like him. And the point that somebody was making earlier is ownership, right? You need somebody that's got a vision. Free glass of wine to anybody can tell me what this is. Come on, somebody here has got to be as old as me. Anybody know what that is? It's called the Knowledge Navigator. In 1987, Apple released a video called the Knowledge Navigator. And Steve Jobs had this vision of this tablet device that you would touch and interact with. 1987, right? And it had a little avatar there that would tell you the weather in different countries and look up stuff in this, 1987 now, right? No World Wide Web, 87, right? It would look up stuff in this virtual library and come back to you with information that you asked it for, yeah? And so their first try at this was the Newton. Not very good. I don't know if I owned one of these. I don't know if anybody else did, but boy, what a piece of crap. But it led the way towards the iPhone, right? And now with Siri and with some of the troubles with iOS 6 notwithstanding, they're pretty close to this idea of this Knowledge Navigator thing. So you need a visionary. You need somebody who's to own the development. Right? You need this guy, somebody like him, the product owner, who's going to have an idea. And without that, you wind up with, I don't know if does anybody know what this is? It's the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. And if you've ever been there, holy Moses, it is one convoluted, really strange experience. Because you open a door and there's a brick wall, and then you go down some stairs and there's nothing there. There's doors to nowhere. It is a mess. And so, Pete, is it? Pete, right? So you had said earlier, right, you need somebody who's going to own it. Somebody's going to have a vision. Somebody's going to keep you out of the mess. Because with scope creep, this is the epitome of scope creep, right? Somebody say, hey, let's put a door there. No idea why, no idea benefits to it. They're just going to have a whim and do something bizarre. So you need to have a vision. You need to have a visionary, somebody who's going to provide you the guidance on a daily basis. We didn't get a chance to meet, but you were asking about agile and distributed agile. This person's going to run the show, right? It could be onshore, it could be offshore, it doesn't matter. But they're going to answer the questions, right, about what we're building, right? Let's elaborate this requirement. Do you mean to put a door there? Because that doesn't seem really right. So they're going to answer those questions for you. So number one, vision, right? 2, You need a team. Any Manchester United team fans here? No? Okay, sorry. All right, skip that. You don't really need that team. But you do need a team. Everyone needs that team. I didn't mean to start a brawl. Calm down, everybody, please. You need a team with a common philosophy. And this is important, right? They're going to have a common practice. They're going to work together well. They're going to interact well. It's not dogma, right? This is not a matter of just going through rituals. I've been to a lot of organizations that say they've implemented Agile because they've bought a book or they've gone to a class and they're doing daily stand-ups and we have scrums and we have burn-down charts. But why aren't they getting the benefits from it? Why are we not seeing any productivity change? I see this all of the time. I'd say 80% of the companies that I talk to have this problem where they're following the dogma, but they're not embracing the philosophy. They don't understand why they're doing Agile. What's the purpose behind it? What is it that we're trying to achieve? They're just following the rituals. They're just doing this stuff. I don't know why, but hey, daily stand-ups, retrospectives. We should get the benefits from it. They have to have technical talent, but most importantly, they need to be philosophically aligned. They have to have a common belief system given to them from the company and from the visionary. Right? They'll certainly share some common practices, and they'll have some bonding moments together, and they'll establish a culture. And if that culture doesn't match your company, Todd talked about this from Pearson, right? Cultural alignment. This is one of the most critical elements of productivity. Yeah? You need to understand the why we're building the software and not just what we're building. Right? Too many times, especially in distributed Agile or distributed development of any kind, waterfall especially, this is the requirement. No concept of the context of that requirement, what it is we're trying to achieve, the vision of what we're after. They must understand the why. Otherwise, you get crap. You get a lot of defects. You get a lot of functional defects that you have to continue to manage. Okay, number 3. Number 2, okay? You guys get it? Okay, good team, philosophically aligned. So somebody has to translate that vision. Your first name, I'm sorry? Robert. So Robert said, who's going to do the requirements, right? Who's going to take the vision and turn it into something that we can actually develop? We like to use requirements as stories because they're lightweight and they're easy to prioritize. You can move a story around. Right? This is the most important. This is the least important. This is next important. And they're responsive to change. Yeah? So you don't want to spend all of your time managing change. You want to be able to embrace change, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But they have to be time-boxed, right? So here's the stories that we're going to develop in the next iteration. Here's the ones that we're going to develop for the first release, right? That Newton concept. Otherwise, you wind up with a mismatch, yeah? So somebody says, oh, well, I don't really understand that. Now, the stories that we go back to here, they can't be just these lightweight concepts. They have to include acceptance criteria and wireframes very often, but they need to be lightweight so that you elaborate only the most important priorities, right? The most important stories. Don't waste your time with things that are never going to be built, so that your visionary, your product owner can tell you what's good enough, and that certainly isn't. So they'll tell you when we're ready, right? So we couldn't get the voice recognition into the Newton. Is it good enough? Yeah, that's good enough. Let's get it out the door. Let's see what happens. Right? The product owner will tell you that stuff. So requirements as stories, very, very helpful in managing those requirements. Estimation is always a challenge. This is one that companies get really caught up on. Right? How big is this thing? Right? You got a story here. It's got a wireframe to it. How big is it? Let's break it down. Right? Let's elaborate it. The way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Let's get it to very small pieces, because we're very good at building small things. I can tell you how long it's going to take me to build that. I haven't built anything in my life, but that's pretty small, right? We're very bad at building big things, right? At estimating the work in big things. I don't know how long it's going to take to build that thing, right? But I can tell you exactly how long it's going to take me to build that within a very small tolerance. So by breaking things down into small pieces, you get very, very accurate estimations. Right? You get really good predictability on when we're going to be done. I've seen too many projects misestimate work and then cancel the project. Right? Pour sometimes millions of dollars into software development, only to say, we've worked a year on this thing, we've had a team of 70 people, And you know what? We're still 2 years away, even though we expected it to be done by now. And so they just kill it. It's unfortunate. Number 5, avoid command and control. Okay, I know that there's a lot of people that like to feel comfort in command and control, but people generally like freedom, right? They like empowerment. They like to be creative. They like trust, right? I trust you to deliver this thing. And they love to collaborate, right? To build great things. Show them what we're building. Inspire them. Give them freedom, right? Give them creativity, but also make them commit. They don't like control, right? They like creative freedom. Give them your vision, and they will build wonderful things, along with your philosophy, breaking things into small bits. They will achieve great software. Number 6, transparency. So we can't just give people all the freedom that they want, right? They'll never finish anything, right? How do we know? So Todd talked about the metrics and the visibility and the transparency of agile development. Right? This is important. The metrics are kind of like a cockpit in a 747, and that is an actual cockpit of a 747. Right? You need to know what your altitude is. How far away are we from our destination? What is the weather like? You know, what's happening? Right? You need to have the kind of transparency that you get. One of my agile coaches said, agile is like being in a glass house and not a brick house, because people can see exactly what you're doing in a glass house. It is completely transparent. They know that I'm having trouble with this particular requirement. I was supposed to be complete yesterday. I'm not complete. Maybe I need some help. Transparency is key, right? Measure your progress. Know when we're done. How do we know when we're done? Right? You gotta have metrics to know when we're done. Make adjustments along the way. This is really, really, really important. Give your product owner, give your team, give your development managers the ability to fine-tune things, to say, you know what? That requirement you're working on that you're having trouble with, not that important. You know, let's if it's a problem, if we've missed something, if we've misestimated something, right? We have 2 choices. We can either redouble our efforts on it and try to get done in time, or delay it, move it to the back, right? Make adjustments along the way, and customers do that all the time. Let your visionary decide. Let this person decide, you know, when it's good enough. Yeah? And what trade-offs to make between time and cost and features. Number 7, traceability, okay? All right? You need integrated tools in order to have traceability. You need power tools. There's people out there using spreadsheets and what I would consider ancient tools, and you can build great things with ancient tools, but you take a lot more people, and it's not very efficient, all right? So we have a framework that we call the NestSmart framework, which ties together a bunch of off-the-shelf tools with processes that we've developed over time, templates and workflow, and has metrics. And it integrates all of your development tools together, no matter what tools you're using. So if you're using Team Foundation Server or Jira or Rally or version 1 or something else, we tend to write the integrations between these so you can get the kind of traceability that you need in order to get test automation and continuous integration, and avoid collisions, right? Ultimately, you want to avoid that, which happens in software all too often. And you want to make sure that you have alignment. Number 8, embrace change. So the point that Pete was making about scope creep is absolutely valid, yeah? Right? You don't want to have projects that go on forever. You don't want to have the Winchester Mystery House. But at the same time, now, reality is not always your vision. Yeah? You can't always achieve your vision on the first goal. Right? Your vision changes over time, and the market changes, expectations change, and competition changes the landscape. So change is important to embrace, but somebody has to make the decision. Somebody has to take the ownership. The product owner, that Steve Jobs guy, has got to say, you know what? Because Samsung entered the market, we're going to take a different tact. We have to double down on Siri. We have to do some kind of reaction to that. Right? Adaption ultimately is survival. You either adapt or die. Yeah? The history is littered with companies that did not embrace change, that stayed the way they were, and now they're out of business. Right? If you look at, there's a book that was very, very, very popular 15 years ago called Built to Last. You guys remember Built to Last? Anybody read it? No, it's a big US thing? Okay. Well, anyway, there was a book, it was very, very popular in the US at least, called Built to Last. It was about companies that were built on a solid foundation. And unfortunately, they're not built for change. And so a lot of them struggle today, or even out of business. They listed 25 companies, Motorola included, and several others, that today are not the companies that they were. And so the philosophy today is really designed for change, not built to last. So we like to think about designing software to adapt. But somebody else mentioned this as well. What are the implications, right? If I squeeze time, if I squeeze more functionality in, what's the implications to the rest of the project, yeah? So if I want more features, well then time is going to pop out my ears, and cost might pop out my ears. So understanding the implications, if I want that feature, how long is it going to delay? This is our responsibility as IT developers, as you know, software developers, right? What's going to happen when you change things? So embrace change, but understand the implications. And number 9, defect management. So understanding what a defect is versus an enhancement is really up to the product owner. Right? The product owner will tell you whether it's a defect or whether it's a new feature. Let them decide. Your job, or our job, quite honestly, is to make sure that there isn't any regression, right? That we haven't created a broken link somewhere. We haven't, by implementing something new, we haven't broken something else. That happens a lot. And have tools that will tell you how to automate that, the test coverage, and how are we doing with regard to quality. Preventing defects through test-driven development, another agile principle, really, really helpful, right? So that we don't introduce regression, we don't introduce defects. And number 10, continuous improvement. Right? This is my mantra. Right? In India, in our Bangalore center, they call this the Neil effect, because I'm always on them about continuous improvement. Unless you're continuously improving, you are not doing agile and you're not doing a high-performance team. So you need some good metrics, and we've developed a few of them that make a lot of sense. Predictability and productivity amongst the highest, right? Automation allows you to continuously improve so that you can use your tools to reduce the friction in the process, increase your overall effectiveness, and focus on building. Right? At the end of the day, what you pay for as a customer of software development is this, and not fixing defects, and not elaborating requirements, and not everything else that goes into software. You're paying for features to be delivered out the door at the end of the day. So the more that we can reduce the friction of the rest of the process, the more layers we can put on that building, the more features we can get into the software in the same amount of time. So that you can move fast and achieve your vision, right? Great software, happy customers, happy employees, maybe most importantly, happy shareholders, like good stock growth. So here's your bonus number 11. And you might think this is a shameless plug, but you want a partner, okay? Somebody that's been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Somebody to help navigate the potholes. They've learned lessons, because it's dangerous out there. It's very competitive. Getting somebody to help you so you can stand on their shoulders, right? Get to market faster, and again, help achieve your vision. Case study, Todd went through this in pretty great detail. I'll point out that we achieved very significant productivity growth over a few short releases, and an incredible quality. So these things do work. They work in practice. We can talk to you a lot about companies that we work with that have achieved that benefit. So I'll recap real quickly and go through 147 slides backwards. I'm not going to do that. So here's a quick summary, right? You need vision, team aligned with philosophy, requirements as stories, estimation, avoid command and control. Absolute transparency is key if you want to achieve high performance teams. Integrated tools to provide automation and help with that transparency. Embrace change, manage your defects, and always continuous improvement. And of course, you want to partner with us.